Welcome back to another episode of Filmmaker's Corner. My name is Michael Bachochin. I'm your host. I'm here with my co-hosts Peter Murphy and Yusuf Beg. Today we are featuring Seth Oberle. Seth, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing? How you feeling?
Doing good. Thanks for being here.
Seth Von Oberle.
Thank you for having me.
Seth Von
Oh,
Oberle.
yeah. Man, that's
That's an old story.
I already messed it up. See, I already messed
That's an
up
old
the
story.
intro, you know?
Fuck. That's not part of his.
No,
That's
it's
not. It's
good.
really not part of his name.
It actually comes with the story though, because that's like I just rolled with that as my artist name now. That's like kind of been my artist surname. I leave it on all the grams and stuff and Facebook and everything for the it was what I put on the slate. It was what I put on the slate. I had some kids back in the day tell me, they were like, "Oh, Seth, you're going to art school, you're gonna be fancy. Oh, Lars von Trier, Seth von Oberle." I was like, you know what? Yeah, why not? And then I put it on there and it's stuck. And now it's stuck even all the way out in LA. So I'm sorry.
Well, this show is super popular, so you're about to blow up, dude.
So we have a really
Get the Von is what gets all the chicks, trust me.
Exactly.
Well, Seth, thank you for being here. We have a really interesting episode for everyone here today. Seth is the co-runner of the Chicago grip and electric company, Light Modifiers. I got that right?
Yes, sir. I am the partner at over at Light Modifiers Rental. We actually are now. We've upgraded over the years, and talking a little God forgive us before, but the first movie I did with Mike and Cameron, my other business partner, that was kind of where it all kind of got its start from a little bit. I met Cameron on that movie and kind of figured out like all the stuff he had and made a movie for the first time, and lo and behold, holy crap, we got a company. So it kind of all started all the way back then. I'm still working with him to this day.
So let's back up for the audience there, just for context.
Sorry, yeah.
So Seth and I have a sordid past. You know, we've worked together. He gaffed my first feature film all the way back in Wisconsin. How many years ago was that now? 8 years?
7.
Holy
Seven?
shit.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
2013. It was November 2013.
Polar Vortex. Yeah, you literally just can gauge the timeline of that movie. Like, well, when was it negative 42 degrees outside for like 3 weeks straight? Whenever that is, that's when we shot that fucking movie.
What a great
Yep,
place
and
to
we
shoot a
came
movie.
back and shot some more, even colder.
Significantly.
So that's the context. Seth, you and I have worked together in the past. Yusuf was the editor of that film, so you know, we all kind of go back. But after we moved to LA 5-6 years ago, you know, obviously we're not working together too much, and you all out there have continued to just grow and just do some really crazy shit. So that's why we wanted to have you on today. Light Modifiers has a really cool program called Light Modifiers Learn. Is that correct?
Learn with LMR. That is correct. That is the scientific study my business partner Cameron basically funded for himself this year. It's very cool having a platform to be able to not only rent and do business, but as well as help and give back to the craft as much as we can. We have all these tools at our disposal, so we wanted to, you know, help other filmmakers kind of decide, like, why would you want a Sky panel versus a Gemini? Why would you want one light versus another? And instead of, you know, looking at the technical specs that the company provides you, we sort of did a independent study and took the middleman out of it and just took all of our lights and tested them against each other and just was like, hey, no BS, no bullshit. Like, these are just the lights one next to each other. Like, hopefully you now can pick the right light for your job instead of just picking it based on a brand. You know, maybe you don't need this versus this. And we want to make it an app. We want to make it like a platform that filmmakers can hopefully use. So it's cool. It's amazing the amount of ways you can market in this business, huh?
Yeah, that's crazy.
So let's come back to that. Let's dive into, like, who are you? Who are you, Seth? Why are you here? What are you doing in film world? You know, and start us off with the originations. I guess, you know, how did you get into film? Who are you and what are you doing?
I've been making movies since I got to Chicago. I'm originally from Minnesota, repping the hometown. Repping the Midwest. I made my way out to Columbia College out there. I met filmmakers I'm still in touch with and working with to this day. I was pretty shitty at going to school, so I dipped. Dude, some people just aren't students, right? I'm just not I'm not a student. I don't study well, but you learn the way you learn. And I got on set and I met other filmmakers and I immediately got to work. So outside of convincing my parents that was like, hey, you know, I know I'm not going to have a degree. Well, how are you supposed to get a job? And it's just like, well, trust me, I don't know, there are people that are just asking me, so I'm gonna go do this,
Hey,
and
can't
lo
turn
and
down the
behold,
money, right?
didn't have to look back. No, can't turn down the money, and you didn't have to look back. So I've been pretty fortunate. I've been lighting movies ever since I started out here. Everyone is directing a movie or shooting a movie or something like that, and it's tough to break into that game. So I was just like, okay, well, maybe I'll just make everyone's project with them instead of trying to go and hunt for my own. So I've just been trying to meet people, make as many movies as possible, and freaking try to keep the dream real. I love gaffing. It's my dream. I get to play with the lights. You get to make the atmosphere. You get to set the look. You get to work on the image. It's, I don't know, Peter, you get to set up lights. You've been there, right?
It is the shit. It's the best, dude.
So what's the deal with, I gotta split into this, because I feel like both of you are very similar in the same sense that neither of you really have any interest in being cinematographers, do you? Necessarily?
Not really. I mean, I've thought about it like a distant thing. Like once I've done everything I want to do, then maybe try it out. But it's definitely not in the front of my head by any means.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I've got a business partner who's the DP on the family already. So it's like, nice. I got someone that's already doing that hustle, and I studied to be one. That's how you learn the craft, right? In the cinematography program and really get your licks. So it's like, yeah, would I love to point the camera and be in charge of it? Sure, but man, I saw how much work Cam does, how much all the DPs work they do with the directors. Like, you guys can have it. I'll set up the lights. I'll go sit for a little bit, and I'll see you on the next one.
I love lighting. That's what it is. It's not that I don't want to do any work. I just love lighting. That's what it is. I swear.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've gone union now, so maybe a little bit I'm not officially wanting to work all the time, like maybe there's some times where it's like, I don't really need to work right now. Yeah. Someone else can go do it,
It's feeling a little like grocery store stocking 9 to 5. Like they're not living the dream anymore. You're stocking boxes, it's like the grind.
It's a hustle. I love working on the television shows. I love getting to see my friends there every day. But man, day job life is true. I speak no ale on anyone I ever work with. I love those guys. But I see and hear the day. I see and hear it. I feel it.
I feel like just no one like really talks about that. Everyone talks about like the fantasy of the novelness of working in like the film industry, and it's like, oh my God, I'm so excited to be a PA making like slave wages, and it's like you lose track of the fact that like it very quickly becomes a job, and you work a few shitty ones, and oh my God, it's a job. It's a job real fast. Like the guy that the guy or gal that hired you or whatever, it's like if they are shitty or they're a shitty boss, you very quickly are like, oh my God, like I'd rather be doing almost anything besides this, and it's like you forget that it's a job.
Yeah, and it's and with it being like in this specific case, like procedural television, man, like it's just what it is, it's syndicated, it's there every day, it's content before content was a thing. And it's just, you got to show up every day for it. You got to do the same thing every day, and again, those guys are talented, they're great filmmakers, but you can only set up so many tubes every day. You can only set up the same HMIs out the same windows every day, and still, I'm lucky. I got to preface that I'm very lucky. I've been around in the local industry for a while. All of the best boys that I get to work with in town are friends of mine that I was making movies with. Man, I met some guys that are best boy TV shows nowadays on Craigslist to help me fucking make some movies, and those guys just wound up being that fucking talented and kept me around and allow me to day play on their TV shows and hustle off to the left and the right as a freelancer and not get kicked to the curb like some guys get. It's hard out there, man.
Yeah, dude.
So talking about the Chicago market, I feel like, we can maybe come back to this, but I mean, we're here, let's talk about it. Like the standard filmmaker is so familiar with like the traditional LA like hustle bustle, like oversaturated market. There's pre-COVID, there's a show on every corner. Yep. I would love for you to just kind of talk about the firsthand experience of what it's like shooting, because I know you shoot in the Dakotas, you shoot in Wisconsin. I know you do a lot of work in Cook County, which is, for everyone listening, is Chicago and that area. So you're going to get more of like the traditional LA city urban kind of shooting there. But like I'm really interested in learning more about some of these regional uniquities to the Chicago and the Midwest market.
Blue collar as fuck. Dude, I mean, like, it's no other way to describe it. I love it. It's part of the reason I stuck around. I'm a good old boy from Minnesota, you know, like, it's just, I've only gotten to work once or twice out in LA. I mean, why would I need to unless someone brings me out there to like hang, you know, like, and I'm out there coincidentally, but it's tough. One of the reasons I stick around is for the basic example of I can make my way here and be a big fish in a pretty medium-sized pond, or I can go swim with everyone out in the biggest ocean there is out there. And that was what I liked about Chicago. It's a big city, but it's a small town. So the market can only be so big. What we do in Chicago is special. It's interesting to everyone. Like, it's tough out in LA. You can run into anyone in LA and you're always talking about their project and working on something, or someone's kind of in the industry in one way or the other, you know, but not in Chicago. It's kind of cool. We're kind of the only guys doing it. And I've stuck around long enough that, you know, I pride myself in, you know, people have to come through me around here if they want to get something done. I'm not going to get every project, but like, I'm going to talk about most of them. I'm going to throw my voice in there, and I might not get every job, but like, I just like knowing that, like, when work's coming, like, a good chance of the time, it's at least going to stop by my doorstep before it goes somewhere else. And I love it. I love it. That's why I've never made the big move, you know. Like, yeah, it sucks shooting out in the cold. Yeah, it sucks doing all that stuff, you know, and the Midwest is the Midwest, but you know, it's just, it's a market that's easily graspable, you know, and you can contribute a lot if you stick around, you know, and I'm happy to be here.
I feel like you bring up a really interesting point, because LA is one of those markets where even when you think it's slow as shit, there's like always randomly something going on. And even if it's like some little podcast production or a little short film, or, you know, even like the times when there's these major studio projects that are shooting like Skeleton Crew, and they're like, oh yeah, they've been shooting on that at that corner house, you know, the last like couple of weeks, and you're like, oh, that's like what all like the Coens are and stuff. Like, it wasn't like a big to do, but it was like big enough. Yeah, especially with COVID, you know, they're shooting on these like smaller, you know, scales. And
oh yeah,
I feel like what I remember from Chicago was I was never even that ingrained in the Chicago industry like I am in LA, but it felt like I at least heard of basically all these other, like, you know, tiered filmmakers, all these tiered projects, even when they were like non-union through and through. It was like, oh, you know, I think I heard of that. It's shooting out in Joliet or Aurora or, you know, whatever. Like, you don't know anyone working on it, but you heard about it. You heard about it. You know it. Like,
you heard about it. That there's only so much going on. It's either going on or it's not, right?
So does that pull you out of Chicago a lot then? Because it almost seems like at a certain point you're running out of stuff to do, right?
It does. Again, I'm very fortunate. I got to focus my business model a little bit. Like, I'm not going to be able to get every big job around town. I don't have enough lights necessarily to get every job around town. So you got to focus on the type of client and what they want to do and what they want to accomplish. So in Light Modifiers, we focused on vans, and we focused on LEDs, and, you know, we kind of pushed our way out of tungsten heads, and shit, the biggest head I own right now is an M18, just because it fits a certain type of filmmaking. You know, so yeah, I can't compete on every union commercial, but shit, if you need me to travel to freaking Texas to shoot in a hospital, I can throw everything in a van. I'll meet you out there in a couple days, you know, and I can go where the lighting goes instead of trying to compete anywhere, you know. I just be a hireable person with the right tools, and then they'll just bring you around places, you know. So I'll go wherever you need me. I'll go wherever the lighting is, you know.
Is there like a big dog in Chicago that's like, this is the rental house you go to, or this is the studio that it goes through, or is it all like from outsourced places?
It's hard to say. It's such a small market, you know. Like, once we figured out the union stuff about 7 or 8 years ago, once Chicago Fire really planted its way back, it's just exploded exponentially. I mean, CineSpace now has become a hub. I mean, it's Chicago. They never spend money right around the area to actually make it worth a damn. But the space itself is taken over. We're still shooting in an old steel mill, but it's there, and we can get the job done. Because of that, Cinelease is there now. Panavision made its way back. Keslo made its way back. Oh yeah,
really? I didn't know any of those guys were there.
Yeah, they weren't there 7 years ago, but in the last, 5 years, they all just pounded their way back in because the market became useful again, solely because the tax credit got fixed, and we got 4 Dick Wolf shows at one point in time, 3 of them in complete syndication. I mean,
damn,
the room I'm sitting in right now is paid for by Chicago PD and Chicago Med, just going in and picking up days, you know, like,
damn, that's crazy.
Gotta love that studio money.
Oh yeah,
gotta love that day job life,
yeah,
you know, exactly. So it's lucky. Chicago kind of nailed its own market a little bit with that. So they have their own rental houses to serve them that can help supplement the indie game.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's like 3 or 4 big rental houses in town, and then there's like 2 or 3 medium-sized ones that is where my company sort of lives, and then there's the owner operators who are all their like you know, their own people with their own companies. So there's like 2 other big rental houses, kind of like Film Gear. Our buddies out in Second City had to move due to COVID again, so that kind of sucks. S&A has been around since before I was even there, and they're still doing a lot of great business around there. So it's like the market is small enough where you know everyone, you know their families that run these businesses. So for me, it's like I'd rather kind of be friends with everyone. It's harder to compete than it is to, you know, spread the work around almost. So it's like, yeah, well, we have to market against each other, and yeah, we got to compete for jobs, but why be at each other's throats about it? You know, there's only so many of us. So we, you know, I've had to sub rent from my competitors before because I wouldn't have been able to do that if I wasn't friends with them. But you kind of do what you do to survive, right? And Chicago's small enough for it.
It sounds like there's enough work going around, especially with all those Dick Wolf syndicated stuff going around too. So
Chicago's a commercial town, and that's what's really nice. Chicago's a big commercial town. Here I'll go into my big tangent for that one. So it's like, it does take a little bit of that, like, okay, all right, I'm gonna be a commercial filmmaker. It sucks. It is what it is. We can talk about the ethnic nature of commercials.
I know that feeling. I know all about that.
We can get there, but if you can get past that, it's fat day rates. It's days that are realistic, you know, or at least fully thought out, because there's only X you're usually trying to accomplish. But the big thing that no one talks about, that anyone that asks me like how I was able to break in and do all of this, is I gotta give it up to YouTube and Facebook, man. Like, think about it in complete context of when we got started making movies, like 5 or 6 years ago.
Changed the world. Like it's changed our industry. You know, like the grasps of how you learn. I mean, even going back to you know, God Forgive Us days, which was our first movie together, you know, 7 years ago, whatever. I just think about like the gap in knowledge when we were futzing around, you know, like trying to just figure. And again, it's just like the kind of like, you know, trying to figure stuff out on set, you know, that's like, I feel like so easily like remediable, like fixable now, you know, like look,
it is. Ask
a group on Facebook, like Q&A it on YouTube. And, you know, I'm not saying that there wasn't like a tutorial, you know, before, but it just everything feels so much more accessible now. And
it's more accessible, and everyone needs a video nowadays.
Yeah.
Everyone needs content. Everyone needs some type of content for their platform or their site or their something or other. So this whole new market for us just opened up. Man, this whole new market just opened up. Advertising straight to YouTube, advertising straight to Facebook. That didn't exist before. So I based my all the time. Oh my God, all ads straight for YouTube.
Talk about that.
Straight for Facebook.
I feel like that's like super it's like a super undervalued and undercredited area of our industry that there's a shit ton of money in now. And like people don't realize, like, you know, your mom calls you like, what are you working on? Like do you really want to tell her, like, I'm working for this fucking YouTube influencer who's like half my age and making $4 million, you know?
The amount of times I've been on a Snapchat thing where they're shooting on an iPhone, and I'm like, who the fuck are these people? Where is all this money coming from? I'm getting paid the best rate I've ever gotten, and we're not doing anything.
And
like,
we're shooting on a camera this big. That's like a tenth of the budget of the cheapest cinema camera.
I'm always talking to the DP. I'm like, should I know who these people are? And they're like, probably not. But they're just fucking famous as shit, like 6 million followers. They're just like doing dumb stuff on the iPhone.
Do you have that a lot out there?
Hey,
Do you live in that world too?
Not straight social media, no, but business social media.
Oh.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Explain.
You know, like straight business. So like just corporate content, man. Oh my God. If I had $1 for every big corporate business that wanted a fun, flashy little video for their office people or for putting on one of their websites, just interviewing people, or a video to present at like a conference,
So we're talking like
in front of all their
level.
employees. Industrials, man, everyone needs videos. Yeah, I give you a lot of credit. You guys are doing social media stuff out there. You have the patience of a saint.
Dude, it's an actual nightmare.
I was gonna preface
Yeah,
like
it's
an
dealing
actual nightmare.
production on any of those is like that's not it's not
Oh
fun.
my God. We did
it's not
this-
enjoyable.
We did one that was
No.
like a Christmas.
It is when you're in
special.
post.
We did one that was
Yeah,
a
you don't have to
Christmas
deal with that.
This is when
So
you're
bad.
in post, Yusuf over here.
Yeah,
First.
the actor starts talking back and he just trims the clip. You shut up now. You shut up now. Tired
Yep.
of listening to you.
No, it's kind of crazy. That stuff's I've done very little, but industrial work. Like every small town mom and pop store wants a video for their website. Has an Instagram page now. Needs some kind of content. Like I love tabletop photography. I put that in my little niche over here, that I will light whatever product thing you want. There's no talent. It doesn't talk back.
Yeah.
We get the day to ourselves to pre-light and stuff. It's great. Like
They eat that up too. They're
Seth
like,
is like,
wow,
give me
it
8
looks so
hours
good."
to light this watch. No problem. No problem.
Exactly. But everyone needs that stuff. I had a job for a week and a half. I lit brake pads.
What are you lighting? Like just the unit, like on like a pedestal?
The units on the pedestal, the brake pads themselves, the little components that ride with it, different
Excellent.
colors, different shades, different
Excellent.
variant. Yeah, fuck it. Fuck that up. Pay me 5 days, fucking a full day right to light that shit. And I'll fucking hang and listen to music and just chill with the DP, you know? So it's cool, but everyone kind of ignored that market. They were all still fighting for, commercials
Features.
for TV, features.
Features like the biggest eye roll. Like everyone's like, I want to make movies. And then it's
Yeah.
like, do you want
Well,
to see the paycheck of making movies after 10 years? Like
Dollar,
let me tell you, get into commercials. Save yourself the pain. Get into commercials.
Exactly. Save yourself the pain. But man, I am holding strong. I got to do my movies, man. You know me.
Yeah.
It's the creative
we were
outlet.
we were out there in the trenches doing it. It's the hardest job. It's the most difficult to get done because we're making something from scratch. You're making something. It's pure. It's just the best. You can't, in my opinion, there's just nothing better than making a movie. There's nothing more difficult or terrible.
Yeah.
But you just won't get the same reward out of any other version of this job, if you ask me.
I think they always say you do one for the wallet, one for the reel. Because that's kind of how it is.
Yep. How it is.
I feel like the just what you were saying there about like needing like that creative outlet for like the artistry. It's like you get so I feel like that falls into like the day job though. What you were talking about, the repetition of how many times can you set up an HMI, how many times can you set up these combo stands, and it's like it just drags after a while. And it like on the indie level you don't get all the toys, and that's almost what makes it more thrilling is like the problem solving, like
working with what you got.
You're right. I mean, like on Parallax, it was literally a constant battle of fuck. Well, we don't have.
We
the
only
lights
have one
we
light
need.
left.
So like either it's a different time of day, it's a different day, or we're gonna figure something out much more creative with like this blocking, the setup, whatever. And it makes that payoff of that final composite when it's like gorgeous, and we've like dolly tracked smoothly from this room into that room, and the nice glow and fall off of the light, and it's like, hey guys, we had like 2 lights and we did that. That was like chef's kiss, motherfucker. Like that was great.
But and correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't that kind of make you more of a like a stricter filmmaker, like a little more of like a filmmaker that can think on his feet a little bit? Like you get into these comfortable situations where, I'm used to having 10 sky panels at my disposal. It's like, that's cool. I don't have that. So what movie are we going to make now with these lights? Like, how can, stop telling me about what the movie you want to make. How are we making this movie right now?
Yeah, I agree, because the film school I went to just had the worst equipment you could imagine. And it was always just a fucking nightmare. Every time you wanted to make something, it sucked. But then once I moved out here and we have all of these things, it's amazing. But when you're like, on some shitty job where they don't have much, you're able to adapt and work around and make it work with all the little things.
Well, and
man.
I think it makes you more ingenuitive, you know, like it makes you more creative, and I feel like it makes you more of like a technician, you know. I feel like a lot of filmmakers, and again, I'm not speaking for everyone because, you know, everyone gets in for a million different reasons, but I truly feel like most filmmakers who stick with it do this because they enjoy the problem solving and they enjoy the challenge. And again, you live your life in grip and electric, that's fine, but that just, all that means is that you enjoy probably the challenge of grip and electric more than you do production, or vice versa.
And you said it best, problem solving. I just love problem solving puzzles.
Right. And I mean, it's a constant challenge when you get to show up at a new office space. Like, you know, again, you might be at the same office space for a week, but next week you're going to be at a different office space, and you have to reconfigure your setup for this office, you know, this office space, you know, and it's a 10 by 10 room, and you better make it work, and it's got all white walls, and don't worry, it looks great.
What are we going to do? Hey, all I got to say is, like, you can either, you know, make the frame you see in your head and try to shoot as, you know, as crazy as you want to, but not have enough tools to accomplish it and have that come across in the final product. Or you can tighten your frame. You can really think about what you want to talk about. You can use the tools to your advantage, and you can just, you know, make something good with what you have. You've just got to think like that. You've just got to think with what you're doing now instead of what you wish you could be doing. And maybe that's why I'm not a very good DP, because I'd rather just solve the problem in front of me than plan. And oh, you didn't get what I wanted. I just throw me in there now. What can I make with what I have in front of me? You know.
Yeah. That's I was wondering. So do you have an approach then when you come to a job? Do you have some general way you think about how you're going to light it, or does it change every time based on what you have?
Good question. For me, it's based on whatever I have every single time. Like I have basic concepts I know that will work in every circumstance, but I'm very fortunate. I've done it for a long time. Like, if you can give me 3 pieces of information, if you can give me what direction the camera's pointing, which direction the talent is facing, and you know, and how wide my frame is going to be, you know, I can just go from there. I can just give you a frame, like, cool. You know, so yeah, you know, like, you just need the basic info, and there's enough conceptually about lighting that you can rough in.
Yeah.
To get something, right?
Yeah, totally. I feel like it's changed a lot for me. My perspective on it is I used to like overthink everything of like, we need one light to do this, one light to do this, and all these like tiny little things, a million things. And since working on bigger things and doing more stuff, it's like become bigger of like, all we need is get a key light, and then everything will look this way, and then we'll figure out all the other little things. Like it's become simpler for me, I guess, over time.
Good.
I always felt like that when we were on Parallax. That was something that always threw me about Connor, was that he was one of the first DPs I ever worked with who was like, I need one light.
Yeah, and I don't need one. I need more than one light. But that's the starting point for me.
That's where we're gonna start. And I may add things. I may not. You know, I may actually take some of this away, you know, and I felt like that was such an interesting approach, because we, as like a production team, as a unit, you know, being like a director who was like in the trenches with like, you know, G&E and camera, it felt like we moved so much more conducively to like to approach the math and the science of like lighting like that, where we're going to start with one and we're going to add and subtract as needed, instead of like, let's start with 4 lights, we're going to get
because we only had 3 lights.
Well, yeah. But, you know, like, instead of, like, multifaceted variable adjusting, like, constantly, and then trying to, like, oh, well, this variable made this variable different. Like, you just, simple denominations and move from there.
And that's how it gives yourself a chance to find it, too. Like, or at least for me as a lighting person, I always go with my atmosphere first. Like, if you can find what the scene is going to look like already, if I can at least get the motivating part. Like, I love working on a stage for that reason. I always bring in all of my lighting from the outside first and just feel what the space needs to feel like. Then, like you said, just throw up a key. Fuck it, right? Like, just throw up a key. That's kind of nice, you know, and you're done. It's really, it's if you can think about it like that, it's not that hard. But you just got to get yourself there. You just got to, you know, okay, my camera is really, really highly sensitive, so I don't necessarily need a lot of light from coming outside. So it's like, the more information you can know, you can really adjust around your lighting to work with it. Like, man, for me, these new cameras, they're fucking crazy. You know, like you have a DP that tells me, okay, Seth, just so you know, I'm rating the camera at 1600. That's our starting point. I feel safe about having that much stop to work with. So all of a sudden I've got one cart full of LEDs that is double its distance and size now because the camera is so sensitive. But if you can prepare for that, you could fuck that movie up with nothing, you know. You don't need a fucking you know, you don't need a whole truck full of shit, you know.
Then it's not even about like how much light do we need. It's literally about like how it looks physically, just like the shape of it, because it doesn't matter. You're gonna see it.
Damn right. Damn right. Shape your light. Oh no, we just need to blast light, and then it's like maybe, I guess, you know, like
and cue light modifiers, right?
That's right. Well, that's just it. It's light modifying. It's not light blasters.
Exactly.
It's light modifiers.
Jeez. All right.
No, it's cool. If you can work with your grips and you can work with the craft fully. And again, I will say it comes from a background of being an indie filmmaker. If you're one of these guys who's been a spark forever, who's been an electric forever, who's just set up lights, and all of a sudden, you know, and you can't set up your shaping for yourself. You can't like diffuse the light correctly on your own. That's where it's fucky for me, you know. It's like, man, you should know how to do this. Oh, I don't need to know how to do this. I need the key grip to do that. It's just like,
I was going to ask
how to do it, you'll understand your light better.
Have you always been electric, or it sounds like you were both sides for a while?
So I've only been electric as a union person because I'm a wuss. Sorry.
That is the move. If you're going union, I think that is the move. Go 728.
I kid you not. I'm going to put myself out there right now. I would probably be a shitty union guy in every other department, but I love the electrics. You know, I've done an electric heavy show. I'm not going to say what it is or who the DP was, because like, it was the Electric Olympics. They couldn't just figure out how to pick the light they wanted at the beginning. We just had to start with a fucking 18 or you know, an 18K and work our way down to a sky panel sometimes. They just wanted to see it up so they could take it away. So
my back
only
hurts
happened
hearing
once. That. Yes. Oh man, are you kidding me? I get split off to set the light stage, like set up 4 18Ks and then have some M40s on standby, and we'll walk them in when they want to see that.
Oh my god. Yeah. Why don't you run 400 feet out there and then we'll just do a sky panel? Why not?
Just lay.
It's oh my god.
Just lay all this distro. But you know, lay all this distro. We might not need it. Lay it all, set it up,
dude.
We might not need it. It doesn't matter. It's 500 pounds of distro. We might not need it.
Now hold on though. You're right, but again, you're still giving me too much credit. I'm not a rigging electric. I gotta give the give you rigging electrics credit. You know, you got to, like, they make my job too easy. They do all the heavy lifting, man.
Can you differentiate for like a union noob like me? Like, you know, what's the difference on these shows?
It's pretty much like a pre-lighter. Like they're setting up the cable runs, everything that's going on above you or in the scene.
I don't have to touch 4-aught. You'd hear if I had to touch 4-aught. Do these soft hands look like they have to touch much 4-aught? No. It's
white glove over here.
Yeah, dude. They have incredibly talented people that lay out all my cable, that head up a lot of those lights for me already. Like the one show I was telling you about, I had to head up those lights, but I didn't have to run that cable. So it's like, there's still at least enough of a break for, at least I think, in electrics that we do. Like, it's like, whatever, you know, like the powers run for me. My hardest job is getting an anthill to set up the lights, you know, like that. So the riggers, especially on a network television show where we're flipping from a stage to an exterior to back to the stage, and the fact that I can go to Rush Hospital downtown and leave the cable in the street, and the only thing I'm picking up is my lights, and they come get it tomorrow.
Oh wow!
I dream of those days. I dream of those days. Instead, I do everything.
Well, you don't get that lucky on commercials typically, right? I mean, that's just not really something that comes with the trade of commercials.
Depends on the job.
That sounds more like just network, like TV and like big agency film kind of thing.
Well, that's just union, I think, also.
Well, that's what I said. Like,
union, but I think you're right, Mike. Union TV, because I did.
Well, agency. It's agency based. You know, anything that's like at that tier, that's just like there's literally a job for everyone.
I don't know, man. I did 2 or 3 days on some second unit shit for Bruce Willis's Death Wish.
Okay.
That came through here.
Oh, that
Hell
shot in
dude.
Chicago?
Fuck no. Bruce Willis didn't want to come here. I was shot with his lazy stunt double. Are you kidding me? Do any research on Bruce Willis? He's in his movies like 30% of the time, and he's
getting paid for every day he's there, though.
But so is his stunt double. That dude's got. I have no idea how much money that.
Damn, we gotta we gotta get that guy on the show. That's
Bruce
who we
Willis'
need.
stunt double. All right, so if Bruce
Yeah.
Willis' stunt double or anyone that knows him is listening, shoot us an email. Let's hook this up.
That's fine.
I'd love to hear from him personally.
Please
man,
continue, Seth.
I ran some power just running Jennies for that stuff, and hey, that was as much of a clusterfuck as any non-union thing I've ever done. Like I think it just comes with movies sometimes. There's just something about movies that just brings the worst out of you every time. More people doesn't make it take any less time.
Yeah, a lot of times more people I feel like just makes it so they forget how shitty some areas are. Like, oh wow, that guy is doing terrible things this whole time, but we have so many people to worry about, we didn't even care, and he's just fucking ruining him.
And I think if you're rolling as a non-union filmmaker at first, I think you're just in a different breed. You know, you're just a different race of horses, you know, or something like that.
Right,
It's,
people that have lived and existed like exclusively in union world, they're like a different chalk of filmmaker, and it's obviously no disrespect. It's literally like the phrase like, from the same cloth kind of thing. Like indie filmmakers are typically cut from the same cloth.
Mm-hmm.
No disrespect at all. You're absolutely right. Like, still completely talented filmmakers, but my attitude and the way I think about things, you'd be surprised the looks I get from people. Like you want to touch that? Are you kidding me? I've gotten yelled at for trying to move carts. I was just like,
this shit's in my way, dude.
No, I mean, I'm trying to help us. I'm like, hey, our carts are on the other side of this set. We've moved sets. Now I'm having to walk outside in the cold to run around here to get stuff. Like, can I just go run and get that cart and move our staging up here? Oh, no, we don't need to do any of that right now. Just leave it. Just, like, no, it's fine. I'll do it. Like, I'll do the work. No, we don't need to do it. Just leave it. They'll talk me out of just doing the little extra work that would make all of our lives easier.
It's such a funny gap from non-union to union, especially when you're like just about like when you're just like in the thick of it in non-union, and when you talk to someone who's just like an old head that's been around forever. Yeah. It's like the laziest fucking person you've ever talked to in your whole life. When I know full respect, they put in all the work and they did it and they're there. And
but they've been lugging dirt for 38 years.
But they don't give a shit. It has become a day job, like we said. Like they're just like, no, we're not fucking doing that. And especially with cross department stuff, when it's like, they'll look at should we just move that little thing for camera? And they're like, we don't fucking touch that stuff. That's not our job.
Right? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like that's
I'm like,
joke,
cool.
right?
We don't have to do work. Sweet.
Well, anyways, let's
just guarantee that Peter's never going to get in the union.
Right.
Shit.
Let's swing back to this. We've introed, who you are, what you're doing, the context of like why we had you on the show, Seth. I want to go all the way back, and I because I always think that this is always an interesting angle for us as like, for Filmmakers Corner, because our whole perspective is that we're independent filmmakers who obviously work on both sides of, the studio and the non-studio line. It's very easy and actually just pretty normal to do out here in LA, and that's actually not normal to do in all markets. So I feel like that's just like a clarity point that needs to be made. But I want to go back to like the beginning, how you got into this, and just how you've gotten to where you are, and what kind of, how did you end up cut from the same cloth that we are out here? I think that story's important.
Yeah, man. No, I mean, like, to kind of even leapfrog what we were just talking about, like, I respect and will work with just about anybody, like that's what I kind of love about our job, is you get to meet people from every walk of life, every cloth, every type of filmmaker with every kind of different experience. And I want to meet them. I want to work with them. I want to meet those people. I want to collaborate with those people. But when it comes down to it, you're right. There's just a difference, to me at least, in a person that's done a lot of TV, but then another person that's worked off one of my freaking trucks, especially like my old truck, the old truck back in the day, made a union movie with, or made it a non-union movie with, did a first season of a TV show with, like, like I said before, we've been in the trenches together, and that's just different. There's no other two ways about it. We've been to war together, So it's important. There's something about a filmmaker that just gets their hands dirty in every department. Oh, art needs a little bit of help. Shit, I've got free hands. Let me help you move this out of the way, so that will help me set a light. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have a budget on this movie. We're a G&D team. I'm going to ask you to set up a light, but I'm definitely going to ask you to set up a stand or two and a flag every now and then as well. And you just got to do it. You just got to be a part of it. You just got to throw your hat in the mix. And if you ever want to impress me, or I think any other filmmaker, man, you show up, you say, hello, what department? You don't even need to tell them what department you're in. You walk up to me and I see you pull out gloves, and I see you start to put on a belt, and it's like, what can I lift? What can I start picking up? It's like, okay, we're ready to work. We're ready to go. I don't, you don't even want to learn. You're just like, just tell me. You're just already thinking like, how can I be helping? How can I move something? How can I help, get us through this day better? And not every style of filmmaking is going to teach you that. You have to want to just dig your hands in on all of this stuff, and be okay that you're going to do stuff out of your own department, man. I've been a gaffer on that industrial stuff I'm talking about, man. Fuck, I don't have to set up any lights. I'll throw the lenses and the camera lenses on my back and just fucking carry it around for the DP because I've got the free hands to. Because I'd rather be helping and making the job get done as good as it can right now than feel indignant about like, that's not my job. Whatever.
Like
give it
the greater good. Like whatever's going to get this done, whatever's getting the movie done.
I'm always perplexed by people who get into the industry and they don't have that mentality. They don't have that like teamwork hustle. Like they approach it and again, maybe you probably find this, I'm sure, in every market, but I find it a lot out here. Found it a lot in PAs, like, oh, my friend's a PA, he's been PAing for 5-6 years or whatever, and it's like, oh, great, like they should be good, like they work a lot, and then they show up on set and they like you literally have to be like, you're here to help everybody, like G&E needs help, like go help them, like they're standing there like with their arms folded, and it's like, well, that's Grip It Electric, like dude, like do
you want to make it in this thing? Go fucking help pick something up. Like, holy shit.
And not only that, like it's also awkward because it's like, I'm your boss. Like I would love to want to hire you again. Like, and it's weird that I have to like say like we're like, I'm gonna go help them if you don't. You know,
seriously. I should want to have to swat you away from my stuff. As weird as that sounds, like I should want to have to like, yo, dude, stop. Like I want you to get your hands dirty. You can't teach it though. It's the one thing you can't teach in film school. You either are here to work and you're here to fucking dig in and make something, or you're here, in my opinion, just take a selfie with the camera and show off to your friends.
I found
and that's some bullshit in my opinion.
Yes, that is some bullshit.
I found with so many crews, it's not about like you could show up on a show and not really know that much stuff. Like if you're a swing, you don't really know that too much, but you're hustling and you're running around. They will call you back if you're the hustler rather than the person who knows everything but is not really hustling, because like you said, you can't teach that. You can teach everybody what everything is and how to do all these little things, but you can't teach someone how to hustle.
How do you become like, without totally talking shade on these types of like people in our industry, like how do you even get to that point where you've been in the industry so long and you still don't know that, like, even on like especially smaller level stuff, like when you get hired for something that's minimum wage, close to minimum wage, something like, you kind of know what you're getting into, and then how do you show up and not like understand like what you've gotten yourself into? That's what's always perplexed me.
I don't know if it's like a privilege thing, like you just think you should be handed this thing, like you got hired, you get the money, doesn't matter how the day goes. I don't know what it is. I mean, I understand it when you've been doing it forever and you've been on things that are like separated like that, where it's like, don't touch that. They don't want you to touch that. I understand it there, but I don't know how that happens when it's like, hey, this is my second time PAing. I'm not going to do shit. All I'll do is the little things. Like, I don't know how that happens.
I don't know. I'm with you. I have no idea. I'm just very fortunate. I've been around and I just did it the other way. I just don't even think about it at this point in time. It's just not, it's not even worth the time to me to like, okay, well, you're here. You're no one that please move. Well, I will get it done. Don't worry about it. Thank you. But I got to take it care of. Don't worry about it. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm sometimes you just got to work. Sometimes you just got to work, and then you're either raised that way or you weren't. This isn't even a filmmaking question anymore.
Yeah. So
nature or nurture? What do you think?
Yeah.
Oh
now we're getting into some philosophy at this point.
We're gonna get some knit and grit here. Seth, what was your first project, and like what did you do?
Shit, man, I was a BTS photographer, man, in college. I got thrown out there. But it was a sleepaway job, man. That was what swept me away. I got thrown in to just do some BTS for some buddies out in Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
Sheboygan.
Out in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Yeah, man. A DP who I still got hired to by this day, Jackson Cooper Gango, man. He's good people. He was just the guy that brought me out and let me take some photos with him, and I saw how much fun it was to be on set, man. Of filmmakers I met on that set, the AD, he's a freaking camera operator nowadays. Camera operator I still see, so it's like it was just cool to know that like even back then you're still still working with people and still seeing people. And down to our first movie, Making God Forgive Us. I'm pretty sure that was has to be one of my first features too. I mean, like, oh my God.
It was. I think that was. I think that was like one of the original reasons when Cameron brought you on. I was a little like, and just because I didn't know, like, he was like, oh, he's great, and the movie was low budget, and it was like one of those like, oh man, like we don't want to have someone too qualified. Like it gets weird when it's like he's gonna be expecting a lot, and he was like, no, like the only reason he's doing this is to get the credit, and then he was like, and he's really good and a cool guy, and I was like, okay, all right, and it was like a perfect mix. I mean, I've never worked, Peter's the only other gaffer I think that I've worked with in the same way that I worked with you, where it was very much like I had a relationship with both the DP and the gaffer. We discussed things as a team when it came to like the visual look, and I did that on Parallax as well. I like copycatted that formula.
Hey, fuck yeah, man. And it works well. If you collaborate directly with your filmmakers, it pays off in dividends, if you ask me, like. But
that only works when you got the small team. You can't be like on the 100-person union show, It doesn't work when there's like 15 department heads that all have to be present to make one decision, where on an indie film it's like 3 people.
You're telling me. You're telling me. Oh my gosh.
So
but I mean,
after Sheboygan.
What were you going to say?
After Sheboygan. What happened after Sheboygan? We got to get back to your history.
My history? Oh my God, are you kidding me? I couldn't even tell you. I did film school for as long as I could. I dropped out and I made some. Well, I'll just be frank, gross horror movies.
That's okay.
Again,
nice.
I'm thankful. Yeah, I'm thankful for those. I'm thankful for those experiences. I'm thankful for the people that hired me and paid me as a young kipper to go out there and swing some lights around with them. But shit, those movies are gross. Those movies have some fucked up ideas going on in them, But I feel also I'm very fortunate to get a start in horror because I mean, and for me, you're right. I'm not a technical filmmaker. Hilariously enough, we've been talking all this tech this whole time, but I'm not a very technical filmmaker. I'm a very theory-based filmmaker. I love film and I love film theory and I love just the craft and how to tell a story and what's so important about how lighting can kind of contribute to something like that. So I want to be in on these discussions. I know it's not my responsibility to, but like it helps me talk out these ideas with the other filmmakers and in a small sense, like help understand that part because I'm not there to just set up lights. I want it to make sense and I want it to be good and I want it to be a part of all that kind of stuff. So that was just where I put my knowledge and working in horror. Man, you can fuck around in horror films, right? Mm-hmm. You can make whatever lighting you want. It doesn't have to motivate. It doesn't have to motivate for anything. Yeah. So I'm sitting here talking to all these other filmmakers I go to school with. Oh, my teacher's saying I should be lighting my shadows this way, or this is the only way to light something like this. Like, and I'm just like, no, like there's no one way to really light kind of anything. You kind of have to circumstantially understand each scene to like figure that out. And I was just lucky to be in the deep end right away. I had to push away my teachers in my last semester because they would try to tell me how to light my frame. And I was like, please let me light this the way it is now. And we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it like when I see it in post, like don't fix it for me. And then we look at it, look good later. Like, no, I didn't learn anything. I could see other students not learn anything about lighting because the teacher would just walk in and light the shot for them. I was like, see, now it looks better. Oh yeah, you're right. It does look better.
Thank
Great,
you so
cool.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
make the shitty film so that in 2 or 3 years you can look back at it and just think, oh my god,
Yeah.
oh my god, what did I do?
Yeah.
What did I
Yeah,
do?
but it's okay. You gotta get those
that.
licks.
Yeah.
Yep.
You
need those licks.
You need that, or you don't grow.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm lucky for it. I'm lucky to be in the deep end. Since God forgive us, I've probably gaffed or best boyed at least 10 features, and that's
awesome.
more than I ever thought I would ever get to do in my entire life. And it's I only want to do that because we were making movies back then, because that's just like that's what you got into it for, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you gotta do the thing you want to do, you know, and I gotta flex a little bit, because it's like, man, I got my own DVD shelf of movies that I made,
Hey,
you know,
that's
and that's one of the coolest fucking things, you know.
Yeah.
So it's the little things. Some filmmakers don't appreciate that stuff. Like, I just want to move on to the next one. I just moved on to the next one. It's like, no, I want to see how this all came together. Did what we did make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Is it any good? You know, did it all come together? You
Mm-hmm.
know, so it's that's important to me. I don't know. That's always how I've been as a filmmaker. I don't care about movie making as the pedestal that it's put on for everyone else. I give two flying fucks, you know,
Mhm.
but actually lighting it, actually telling a worthwhile story, actually making it coherent and making it something worth watching. That's my shit.
part of me wonders if that's why the way I worked like, you know, so well between like both you and Peter. Is I think you and Peter both approach gaffing as it's an artistry, and it's normally, I feel like it's normally posited as just like a technical skill. You know, you understand how the lights work and the technical specs and what they're going to do, how they're going to operate under certain conditions and variables and stuff, and you can like almost like program yourself to be like, this is what it needs. But there's something different when, you know, you're lighting and motivating from the perspective of trying to not just what the DP and the director tells you to do, but almost interpreting what the DP and the director want out of their creative vision, and then putting your own little spin on it. And that was something that, you know, again, we didn't in God Forgive Us, we didn't Parallax. Me and the DP had told the gaffer, like, hey, like, this is the idea, this is what we want, but when you come up with a better way to make this look better, or like a better spin to like drive this creative feeling, go for it. Like, just do it.
Yep.
Like, don't ask our permission, just do it.
Yeah, I feel like people think of a lot of times as like, all right, everything's set up, camera's in the spot, this is the shot we want, now light it for us. Just like do lighting. We just want it to be lit. And you gotta
do
like,
the lighting.
You gotta be thinking like, how's it supposed to feel? Is it sad? Is it happy? Is it daytime? Not like, you have to put all these different variables to decide how it's going to be lit. It's not just
man,
turn it on.
Gaffing is so much more storytelling,
Yeah.
is basically what both of you are basically saying than what it's giving credit for.
I think it can be, but I'm not gonna lie. I gotta just call it out there because I've gotten in trouble for it before. But because you just, hey, there are some DPs that don't want it. Some
That's
DPs
true.
that don't want your opinion. That it is their job to tell you that information. If you really think about it, that is what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So it's like,
It depends
you
on
gotta
how
be
they
careful
want to
with it.
collaborate, I guess, and your relationship with them. I mean, you know, I would assume, you know, you working with Cameron, and just for context, Cameron, how many movies have you guys done together? Like projects and movies?
Not as many as you'd think.
Oh.
We started off really making a ton of movies together our first year together, but when we started running a business together, I had to have the talk with Cameron. I did.
I can't be around you all the time.
Well, you know, it sucks, but it's like we were in our 1-ton van. I think we were doing a job in Iowa. I literally like had to pat him on the back. It's like, so Cameron, I love you, bud. You know that, obviously, but we can't make every job together anymore. Like you and I have to go get separate clients and bring them together. So I'm very lucky. I feel so bad. I miss getting the light for him. We don't. It's criminal how little we get to light together.
I figured you guys would be working together all the time.
Man,
but
you'd think, right? If we can find the right job for it, 100%. Like me and Cameron are always trying. You know, we give each other work. We actually work on set a lot too. But like, man, like he's got his own gaffer now. He's even replaced me.
Oh,
you know, like, but he's just got someone that he can work with that's always available. You know, and I'm just trying to maintain different clients, and I'm trying to stay available for the industry. And I thank Cameron, my work wife, who I love so much, you know, for giving me the ability to just to help with our business in that way and be free. And when we can time it out right and we can do a project together, we do it every time. You know, we always go out of our way to when we can. It's just, I wish more, right?
Mm-hmm. So after the Sheboygan, it was the horror movies while you were going to college simultaneously, right?
Yep. Horror movies and one PureFlix movie. I made one.
Oh, did you gaff that one?
I did not. I was a camera operator. I replaced the camera.
PureFlix?
That's like it's like Lifetime. It's like
never heard of that.
This
oh,
one
it's on
right
the
here.
shelf. What is
it's
it?
on the shelf.
Silver Bells.
Silver Bells, directed by the same guy who directed both God Is Not Dead 1 and 2. So I have made
no
way.
With that filmmaker. Legend,
same guy.
Dude.
Yep,
what a legend.
He is still out there making stuff, still working for PureFlix and stuff. I can't believe
PureFlix. Is PureFlix like a religious thing?
Straight up, homie.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Damn.
it's like straight Christian content.
That's honestly there's a lot of money over there.
There used to be a lot.
And all you gotta do is just fucking blast it with light. You don't gotta get creative at all. It's just light everywhere.
I mean, as long
as hey, you're making whatever movie come your way, right? I drove all the way out to Michigan. I turned like 22 on that movie, and I was operating a fucking red with an Ingenue 300 on it, just like just trying to not get fired for being too young, you know.
making Michigan minimum wage. Just like, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here. Don't send me home, please.
Please don't send me home. I'm just excited to be here, you know.
I feel like that's everyone's first few jobs, you know.
Yeah, man. No, and I've just been I think I made like a couple other movies with Cameron that year. We did our first science fiction movie together out in Iowa.
And this is after God Forgive Us then, because
after, yeah, because I said I kind of breezed over it in the beginning though, but you can actually give a lot up to God Forgive Us for me and Cameron really collaborating for the last time, because when I finally decided to start Light Modifiers, it was because of the work we did on God Forgive Us, all of his gear and everything like that incepted the idea into my brain. So getting on that job back in the day, that started a lot of shit.
Well, yeah, I mean,
making God Forgive Us, man. I
feel like you and Cameron both got really, really stylistic after that film too. You guys both got very artistic and went off into your own directions. Because I remember.
Thank you for letting us play.
Well, it was Summerland was the sci-fi, right?
That is correct.
And,
known as Amelia 2.0 now.
Okay.
You remember the OG title though.
Yeah.
So good on you.
And that one,
Ed Begley Jr.
Ed Begley Jr.
I remember that being a thing.
I just remember seeing a lot of screen grabs for that back when, because that was very shortly after God Forgive Us, and thinking, wow, like this, there was some moments where it was like you guys were really, really like getting ballsy with some of the stage lighting play, and
man. It was all motivated. You let us, but again, you didn't let us light a boring movie before that. So we weren't just showing up to light, a Hallmark movie. Like, it's like, man, our brains were already in that world.
Well, again, and we were living in that world we were talking about earlier, where it was like we only had. That movie was so such an overshoot. It's like the perfect example of like a first feature film in the Midwest. Like, I think our crew size was like 45 or 40. We had
man.
We had a huge crew. And now in perspective, I'm out here in LA, and I don't think I've had one crew that was like a commercial that was bigger than that. And that's the biggest crew that I've managed out here. And it's just so funny because back in the day it was first filmmaker, oh yeah, the bigger the crew, the bigger the movie. Everyone's gonna think we're so legit, we
need 15 PAs and we got only one gaffer, one key grip, but 15 PAs.
Seth, what was your department in that movie? 7, 8 people? For an indie film, I think it was relatively big.
I think we kept it to 3 or 4 people a day, but we probably had eight different people come out
Ron
over
Roster.
the course of the movie. Oh yeah, absolutely. But man, we were making some crazy stuff. Before we breeze past this, I gotta tell my one favorite story from God Forgive Us, man. The one the nuttiest one, because we had to do some process trailer work, but sorry, Mike, I got to do it. I got to do it. It's just my favorite. We have to do some process trailer work.
Do it.
Yes, Peter, this is for you, actually.
Please, yes.
Do it.
So we had to do some process trailer work, and we just, of course, as we were talking about, you make do with what you got, and we just didn't quite have a budget for a real process trailer yet. So that put me and Cameron and fuck, who couldn't even tell you who the key grip on that movie was. Was it Evan or
That
Ian?
was
I don't even know.
No, it's Ian. It was
I don't
Ian.
know.
It's Ian.
Ian was the straight up key grip? No
yeah.
fucking way.
And then Evan was our best boy, and Evan subbed a handful of days when Ian was out. I remember that.
That makes sense. Okay, that's nuts. Okay, so we got to make this work. So instead of getting the trailer, we got a U-Haul trailer, and we basically just found a way to rig a box around. I by the way, I saved every photo, so I could pull up this video and send it to you for this thing. I've got this rig. It made it on grip rigs back in the day. Thank you very much. But we rigged the whole thing to the base of this U-Haul trailer, and by God, we pulled it off. We had a generator in the back of a U-Haul, ran out. We were switching lights before Rat Pack was a thing on hand squeezers. I'm like sitting on the back of the truck, like dimming up and down tungsten heads that I rigged up.
I was doing something on that too. I was in the trunk with you and Cameron, and you were like pull these knobs. I was like, sure, like great, whatever.
Well, because we were like calling out different moments in the lighting and stuff. It's like, okay, then pull this one and do that. So, but we did it. We did it for hours.
I think you just made me start pulling the knobs. You're like, you just fucking pull them, man. Whatever, dude.
We did this for hours, and so we do all this shooting, and this is one of the only times that I've really pushed my limits as a indie filmmaker going out of his range. But it's at the end of the night, like we're on our last shots of the day, and we have to shoot the inciting scene where the car like swerves away and crashes. And we're trying to figure out how to do this at like 4 a.m, trying to get it all done. And we're like, okay, we've got the Porsche, this fancy Porsche that Mike has rented. And we got to incite the incident. So me and Cameron was like, okay, look, if we drive at each other and just compress the frame, we can swerve away from each other and get the moment that we need to. And so I got too big for my britches and was like, look, trust me, I'm going to drive the Porsche. I'm going to put my shitty old truck up as collateral as the car to drive against us with. We put poor Kyle Downs in my car.
Kyle was the producer. Kyle was the other producer.
Kyle was our producer at the time. And we put him in my car. It's like, all right, Kyle, you just need to drive at me. I'm going to do all the work. You just need to drive forward and do not change your speed. And it's icy. It's cold.
I remember being really upset about this because I think that I wasn't told that this was happening. I think Cameron was like, he pulled some Connor shit where he's like, we need to go shoot this. And like didn't tell me.
He did probably.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like you guys are off in the distance, and Kyle's like driving, the car, and I'm like, what's happening? Like I'm like a stone's throw away. Like
Yeah, we did it. We were able to pull it off 3 times before I was just like, fuck it.
Oh my God, I was expecting it to end disastrously.
Oh no.
We got the shot. That's the thing. We got the shot. So we put Cameron in the street, and lo and behold, I drove that Porsche right at him, and I used to hard swerve all around him and missed him, and we were.
Yusuf, keep this.
So you guys so you've seen the rig. It's awesome. It's over the top. It's all big. It's all rigged. We got it to work. So we have to wrap at the end of the day.
Nice.
At like 5 a.m.
So okay.
It was
like
late
5 a.m.
It's like negative 32 fucking degrees.
This was exactly 12 hours, right? You didn't go over it all.
Who even knows? Who even knows at this point?
This is the non-union indie days of Michael Pachochin's producing.
So this is hour 26 at the end of the day.
It's okay. It's not that bad because that was a deal I made with Seth. I promised him.
Yes.
However, this was later in the shoot, so it is entirely possible that we're like at hour 14 at that point. It is entirely possible.
Of course.
It's okay. We're staying either out at his place or in like a hotel I made Kyle get us because I was just like, whatever, man. But so we're leaving. We get the shots of us driving the car, being idiots, and so we're just driving the rig home. So we're like, we're not going to de-rig here. We're going to go back to Mike's place, and we're going to just de-rig on the way back. So we just need to get through Kenosha to get back. But Kenosha, at this point in time, did not have the best roads. So there's potholes everywhere.
Just Wisconsin roads, man. Wisconsin roads.
And so we finally hit that last pothole, and it's being towed on, I want to say, my truck or something like that, and the rig finally gave out.
No, it was the U-Haul. Remember, weren't we towing it on the U-Haul? Like on the box
something
truck?
like that. Yes, we were toward on the box truck, and I heard it give out. It didn't hit the ground, but it hit the rest of it just fell to the base of the thing. Thank God it didn't hit the car, because the fucking car was still on there. But it basically collapsed. And I'm telling you, this was probably rigged together with like a C-clamp and a gobo head or something.
Oh, God.
So all of a sudden I'm following the thing. I see it start to go. I put my grip. It's like, you drive my car. So in this negative 30-degree winter, I literally got out on the rig, hoisted it up so it wasn't dragging on the ground, and like braced myself for the last block and a half that it took us to get home. And I held it up by my bare hands to get it home where we de-rigged it. And lo and behold, we went back there the next day, and someone had run over that C-clamp and that gobo head, and it had just burst all over.
Oh,
dude,
my God.
I remember that. I remember that because
shit.
I remember being so stressed when he told. Again, like I'm only remembering this now that you tell me, but I remember.
I'm sorry, Mike.
I remember the stress of you being like,
Flashbacks.
no, because it was like 3 a.m. or something, and it's dark out. And that was when we were shooting. We were using my mom's house as home base. So, like by this point we're wrapping. She's pouring everyone shots of whiskey and giving everyone beers. It's like 3 a.m. And, like, so everyone's like, yeah, like we made it through. Because every single day on this movie, like, Peter, every single day was war. It was like, this was one of those films where I feel like Seth's probably the same. Like, there are individual stories. Like, we could probably go like day by day. Like, I remember a lot of them, and because it was just one of those kinds of movies where everything was an experience. And I just remember Seth being so distraught, like the thing gave out, and like we might have lost like some lights, and like there was like a lot of, I remember there was so much gravity, it was like that we might have a lot of L&D, and we had already earlier in that shoot had like a huge claim. Remember, we had like a bunch of lights stolen on day 2. Do you remember we had our LEDs?
My God, I still don't even
Shit
know
just
how
gets
that
stolen on
out.
your shows, Michael. Come on, man. What's
right.
going on, dude?
So like we literally day 2, we were shooting like we're not gonna go on the full story, but just for context, day 2 we lost, I think it was a $2,500 like brand new LED
There's
kit.
these little solar LED bars. I remember them. They were more expensive than they needed to be from light panels. So yeah.
Yeah, and it was just like, and that was like, the non-union days and like very early in the producing career when insurance was very misunderstood, until you have to start filing claims. I think insurance is always misunderstood. And that was just
it
like,
wound up, I don't remember it being too bad though. Outside of that Sola and that broken C-clamp and gobo head.
No,
but those are the only two things.
We were so, but I just remember being so lucky. Like, I remember the next day you were so relieved and you were like, this is it. And I was like, it's broken. But you were like, no, you don't understand. Like, this is it. Like, this is all that broke. This is not a big deal. This is replaceable.
You know what I'm thinking though still about these days? I'm still thinking about the cars that drove that over. That C-clamp, Peter, was missing a baby pin. It got ripped out of the steel. Does that mean that baby pin is like up in someone's like undercarriage still to this day somewhere? Like, how does that break like that, right? Like, or is that the weight that we broke it? I don't know. I think about that C-clamp too much.
nobody can ever point the finger at us for that too.
It was probably so cold that it just snapped.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
probably
I think so. I think so. I honestly think so.
Damn.
But it's okay, Seth. No one can ever blame us for that shit, because when Kyle and I tried to get permits, which we tried to get like at least a dozen times, everybody was like, a permit for what? And I was like, to shoot a movie here. And they're like, but why do you need a permit? And I was like, well, we want to shoot on the road. Why would you need a piece of paper to shoot on the road? Like, oh my God, like,
come on, you guys.
Like, I'm trying to like, get your permission, and you're like, why do I need your permission? Like, I didn't get the cue, just do it and ask permission later, like ask for forgiveness.
Yep.
I wasn't on that bridge, but hey, everything went off without a hitch.
You were hoping that God would forgive, right?
Has he forgiven you yet, Mike? He still hasn't forgiven me yet.
No,
I'm on his shit list too.
So
anyway,
Seth, after let's fast forward a little bit. After Summerland, where did you go from there? That was your second feature, right? That you gaffed?
Something like that. I would have to look at IMDb. Oh my gosh.
But generally speaking, it's like second, third, something like that.
So either that, the first year of Light Modifiers, we had that truck. We did like 4 movies that year, like 2 or 3 of them with Cameron, and then one of them was just another one that was just out there in the world. So we did a lot of movies with that first grip truck. That 3-ton was something. Man, try talking to producers to rent your grip truck, and you show up, and instead of a lift gate, you have a U-Haul ramp that you have to pull out things. Oh man, it was no. There was a point in time where I lit a movie or two, and they were like, "Oh, Seth, we want to rent your truck." It's like, you don't want to use that truck. I know what we're gonna do. We don't want to use that truck. Let's get a real truck. So that's why we switched from the vans. But yeah, we've been doing Light Modifiers for about a year or so then, and we just kind of been doing that full time. And Summerland,
we're speaking like 2015, right? End of 2014, beginning of 2015.
And around that time, around 2016 is when I went union for the first time. Finally, I had to push those guys off forever, but that's when I finally wound up and joined. It was a movie called Savage Youth that I just happened to meet a guy that everyone flipped on. He was great. He gave us all a bunch of really good recommendations, and we were on the list right after that. So another thing that's nice about Chicago, you don't have to compete for years and years and years. I got a poor buddy out there in LA who moved around when you guys moved and just got his local 8 card this year.
Damn.
And I had to turn the youth.
He was like on roster for like 5 years then.
Something like that, yeah. And I literally had to tell the union to back off in Chicago.
I've heard that's a problem in those smaller markets, though. They corner you, don't they? They like you become kind of like not a must join, but it's like an inferred must join.
Well, I just got lucky. Again, I day played. I got a cold call. It wasn't even on the permit list. Again, I just a buddy of a buddy. He's like, Seth, we're short on a pilot today. Like, come help us. And I'm like, all right, sure, whatever. I'll come out. And then I show up, I do my thing. I get yelled at for wrapping too many stingers because apparently that's someone else's job, So, and I go out there and I do the day, whatever. But apparently they took a vote and the best boy liked me enough and they freaking had enough votes to vote me in.
And they just vouched, they were just able to vouch you in?
Because that's what you need. When you vote, you just need enough people to vote for you, basically. Because they have your name on record. Yeah, they have your name on record and all your information on record. So they just vote on you if you get enough votes or not, And I literally had an old address on file with them. So months later go by, I get a phone call. Oh, Seth, we're just checking in if you're coming by for orientation today. I was like, orientation for what? Oh, the local 476, I was just like, I'm in the 476. Like, oh, you didn't get your letter or anything? They sent it to a mailbox I don't use anymore.
Oh,
they just, I didn't even think about it. It wasn't even anything on my radar at first. So I turned them down. I was like, no, like, I'm not going to join right now. What the hell? And so luckily I got another recommendation about 6 or 7 months later and I got the hard sell. And I was like, you know what? Fine. You're not going to use all my gear, but I don't mind a good day job. Everyone seems nice. I get to see so many friends on these shows. So it's like, sure,
that's awesome.
I'm down for the cause. I will. That's as much as I'll talk about me and my relationship with the union, because it's like, it's great. They help me out. And for lack of a better word, they do not bother me when it comes to my unions or my non-union stuff. And I would like to keep it that way.
That's So catch us up to speed. So you join the union and you start working big shows, a lot of big shows, few big shows.
Yeah, I've bumped around a lot. I've never done full time on a show. I ran Light Modifiers, so I was just honest with everyone. I don't know, honesty goes a long way if you ask me. If you're just honest with people instead of bullshitting them. So I was just like, hey, I'm down to work. Call me whenever you need a spare set of hands, but I just can't do the run of show. I'm just not. I'd love the money and I'd love the day rate. It's great, but it's just not where I'm at. It's not where my head's at. And not every best boy appreciates that, but I found a couple that did, thank God. They appreciated my work regardless of the fact that I'm not dedicated to it, because it's tough. Sometimes if you're not giving it your all, they're just like, go away, kid. Man, the very first show I was on was rigging electric for sirens. Fucking a TV show that's not even exist for TBS anymore. And the freaking the rigging electrician for that show just told me straight up to my face, like, don't bullshit me, kid. Give me a yes or a no. Give me a yes or a no. Don't give me any of this maybe, because I'm just like, oh, let me check my schedule really fast and I'll get back to you. No, don't bullshit with me like that, kid. So luckily, again, just the younger generation willing to listen and have a little bit of nuance to the discussion. I got to get on some shows. So I've been mostly on Chicago Med and Chicago PD. Those have been the two shows that I've worked with a lot. They've been great work. You know, the DPs are both very nice. The DP for Chicago Med is absolutely one of my favorites. He's the sweetest man. I've gotten to do a couple of day playing days on just some union features, a couple of union commercials every now and then. So I've just kind of dabbled in a little bit of everything, you know, but I've really tried to keep my feet in my non-union world, like maintaining my own clients, you know, lighting my own kind of shit, because it's just what I'm used to. It's just what I prefer to do a little bit.
Less bosses.
But what's up?
Less bosses.
Exactly. I get to be the boss.
That's always a nice thing. Very undervalued in this industry.
Very undervalued.
Be your own boss as much as you can.
That's right. That's right. Just control the conversation yourself. But it's good. I would say this past year I got to work on one of my favorite and coolest shows I've gotten to work on as a union person. I got to day play on the most recent season of Fargo that came through.
How was that?
Season 4?
Season 4 with Chris Rock, and
I've been watching that lately.
Yeah, do you like it?
So far, so good. Yeah, I think I'm on episode 3, 4, something like that.
Neither of y'all better spoil that. I just started season 1 with the wife, so
it's a great.
Oh, season one is one of the best seasons of television I've ever seen.
I've seen season 1. I've seen it. It's amazing.
So good.
She hasn't seen it. And I'm like, well, like we're not gonna just start season 2 and skip season 1. Like you gotta watch season 1. Like, come on, like.
No, if you make it there, it's some dope television, and man, there are some talented filmmakers that live in Chicago. Shit, I worked with some incredible people on that show, and it was just what's up?
Was it all shot there? The whole thing?
Yep, entire season. Yes, sir. The show takes place in Kansas City in the 50s, so it's a period piece, and we basically just shot around North Side, went out to Peoria, went out to Lamont, like really did it up Midwestern style, and the location work is just you just love it for just being able to see the north side of Chicago and seeing how big the houses are over there and stuff, and all the old cars, and it was just a cinematography showcase. They treated the actors like puppets for the lighting. Like it was just absolutely like the cinematographer directed the last half of this season.
Damn.
Check it the fuck out. It's crazy, and man, I love it. You know, it's great. It's amazing to see something that looks that good, that is attainable, that's within your grasp and scope, you know. That's like, oh yeah, we can totally fucking do this. This is easy. The concepts are all the same, they just have condors and shit, you know. But man, I got to do a lot of condor duty this year. Man, do I love condor duty.
So can you tell everyone what, like, you know, not everyone is like a super, you know, G&E savant here, you know. We don't know what these rigging electric is and grip, you know. What is this?
When you can't get up, when you need a big ass light to light the moon and the no stand is ever big enough, you literally have to light or rig the lights on a giant, I don't know what you'd call it outside of a condor, but like
I feel like it's like a scissor lift, but it's an arm.
Isn't that what they use to get up? I mean, like
a cherry picker?
Yeah.
Thank you. A cherry picker. Thank you, Yusuf. That's exactly right. It's basically like a cherry picker for cleaning windows and stuff like that. But we rig the lights up there. And because the light can't move, and because the light needs to pan and tilt, someone needs to be up there, and someone is not allowed to come down. So it's my job to live up there with the light and basically get paid to hang for 10 hours while they just shoot the scene all day. I pan the light once or twice and I hang. However, that also means I have to pee in a bottle while I'm up there because I'm not allowed to come down to go to the bathroom.
Thank OSHA. Thank OSHA.
Yeah. I can tell you right now, there's nothing more tense than like whipping out your dick over the fucking cop who's like locking up the street. He's like, don't pee on this cop. For the love of God, that is the last thing I need to do right now, is to have someone ask me questions why water is coming down for my fucking condor.
I don't know. Seth, you could do just a sharp swivel. Fuck 12, you know, sharp swivel, you know.
Just piss and just flick him off from the condor as you pee right onto him.
And then you got the water bottle, like, sorry, spilled. Sorry.
I don't know what happened.
Are you kidding me though? You kidding me? Best job I've ever gotten paid for, to hang with that light. I bring my switch up there. I make a little nest with a heater for myself when it's cold. You bring snacks up there. You bring a little vape pen up there, and you just get fucked up and just wait for the day to end.
What a day, dude. Damn.
What a day, right? What a job, you know? Like, it's just like, whatever. Oh, you need me to pan the light? Okay, see you in an hour or two. You know?
Right. I mean, because you're effectively like a safety, like, you're a safety stop, right?
I'm effectively a stand, bro.
Yeah, but I mean, you're the OSHA, reasoning for you being up there is there's this heavy light, and it's just to basically make sure that nothing's coming loose, right? I mean, isn't that effectively?
Like to be fair, yes, but like at the same time, if you are broad enough about it, you can just rig the lights up there empty and just send the bucket up and tilt it from the ground. Like that's totally a way to do it too. It's just when it's like, oh, maybe the light needs to come down this way, so you can actually reposition the light more than anything. If you rig the light up there, it ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, gotcha. I feel like if you do enough Condor stuff or big enough things, it becomes worth it to pay someone to be up there instead of, it's going to be 30 minutes. We got to bring it down, and then we got to adjust it, send it back up, hope it's right, and then send it back down. Like
you're just wasting, that 30 minutes. Yeah, you're just spending so much money.
Mm-hmm. But every now and then I have. Even on Fargo, I've operated it from the ground. We just had a Condor that's just got so much light on it that needs to be overhead. I can literally op it from the ground, point it over, and it's just the overhead source for the rest of the day. And sometimes you don't. Sometimes you can operate it from the ground, but I don't mind having to go up there either. It's not too bad. The bugs are gross, though. Freaking bugs, man. Oh, my God.
During the summer, I'm sure it's terrible.
Oh, my God. You go out there in the freaking Lamont and in Illinois and just like all the way out in freaking southern Illinois. It's gross. It's some of the grossest shit. I've just been hitting the head with cicadas all day,
Oh, God.
Yeah, dude, there was a
bug to the head never feels good.
I know, and I would literally take them and like crush them in my hands and throw them off the counter. Like, this is a message for the next one to not come back up here. You bastard.
Have you found a trick to keep like yourself from being mauled to death by mosquitoes besides taking a DEET bath?
I've actually done more Condor work in the cold than in the daytime. So it actually hasn't been a problem as much. Damn. I'm usually out in the cold. And like I said, I'm from around here. So everyone's like, isn't that miserable? It's like, well, sure. But they provide me a heater. I brought myself another heater. I pig out and take like 4 baguettes and make myself in a little plastic dome. And I play video games all day. Like, it's like, no, I can manage.
This is miserable, but so is life. So, I mean, what are you going to do about it?
It's as good. Seth's up here reading his book, sipping his hot cocoa. Like, this is as good as it gets. I'm getting paid to do this. As good as it
gets. Yeah, they'll even ask me, oh, Seth, do you want to hang on the ground and work all day, or do you want to go up in the Condors? Like, I think I'll just go and hang all day.
How you feeling? You hung over today, Seth? Go upstairs. Go upstairs.
Like I said, I'm an electrician and electrician only. I do any of these other jobs on these union shows. Man, those grips are busting ass. They don't get to hang around and sit around and do stuff like me.
So that transitions us into my next question for you. What's the biggest show that you have worked on? Let me rephrase that. What's the biggest show you've worked on as a key, like a gaffer?
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I would say Fargo is just an electrician, but my biggest show is I got to gaff a movie last summer called I Used to Go Here, that I fought to get, and by God, I was able to get it. Thank goodness. But it was the first movie I personally gaffed that had like A to B list talent in it.
Yeah, it's Gillian Jacobs, right?
Gillian Jacobs, man, I tried so hard to make her my friend. She was so sweet, but her and Jermaine Clement from Play of the Concords. It was pretty dope. The movie is great. The script left off the page at me when I read it. It was for a up and coming director. It was a woman director, so I'm even all about just getting new types of people that I can make movies for, and just getting more voices and opinions in the mix. Mm-hmm. It was great. It was some of the hardest work I've ever had to do, but it was worth it. Oh my gosh. It's beautiful looking. The script is fun. It's a great little summer movie.
That's a legit movie, Seth. It's a legit movie.
Thank you.
That's good, man. Yeah, it looks
good. It's pretty cool. It was pretty cool to finally get it all to kind of come together and have the creative process work. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So you gaffed that.
Yes, sir. I gaffed it, and we got a bunch of my lights out too. Sadly, we needed a grip truck, and I don't have a grip truck, but I got a bunch of LEDs out for the company, so I got to rent some lights for it. That movie's very personal. It's just that's how I kind of like it.
Nice.
Like I like to support it. I want to make it. I want it to be. I want to nurture it and make it happen.
Mm-hmm. So that movie, I mean, I feel like this is just one of those things where we kind of come full circle, and I feel like this is a topic that gets broached a lot lately. But just kind of, I would assume, how big was your team on that?
Okay, I had a key grip, and we had two dedicated grips that we shared, basically, that we kind of get every day. And then my best boy, Jeff Wexler. And I have to shout him out because a movie like that, or a movie in general, cannot happen without a good number two. And a best boy, for anyone that wants to know out there, is basically the guy that runs my department. While I'm on set, I'm just doing the thing. I'm making the movie, but there's all this other stuff that goes on behind the scene: moving the truck, parking the truck, packing the truck, hiring crew, signing paperwork, setting the lights, prepping lights, tearing down, just basically making the movie while I'm actually on set, like lighting the frames,
interacting with the production manager and spending like
Yes.
3/4 of their time blabbering about bullshit that you don't care about.
Yes, exactly. And poor Jeff, is a great friend of mine, one of my favorite freaking talents in town to work with right now, and constantly calling, goes, Seth, I'm sorry, I'm not on set helping you light. And I was like, homie, you have to understand, you're doing God's work out there. Like, there's a reason why
I don't want to sign those papers.
Yeah, so you're doing all the other things that I need done. Like, I have these electricians here for a reason. Sadly, a good best boy doesn't hang out on set.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've bested a movie before. Knives and Skin is what it's called. Another great film worth checking out. But I wanted to be the gaffer. I didn't get that job. It just didn't work out that way. But I got the offer from the guy anyways, like, well, Seth, you can't gaff, but you can best boy instead, and you'll still work the job and make some money and all this stuff. And I was like, yes, absolutely. I want to know this DP. I want to work with this DP and collaborate some more. I'd rather put in the effort now, do that job good, and then just talk to him about it later when he needs, a gaffer.
Mm-hmm.
And it was nuts. It was maybe even harder having to maintain all that stuff and run the truck. But I was never on set. I get to watch that movie for the first time because I was always cleaning up everything. I didn't get to see anything. You just don't do it, But it's just a draw from the job. You get one or the other, and you can't. A movie like that, a movie doesn't get made without a good crew. A movie doesn't get made without people being on the same page, and you get lucky sometimes. You get lucky, but. Man, it was tough. We did have interns for the very first time, and I had to fire an intern for the very first time. I've never had to fire anyone on set before. I'm gonna say no names, but I gotta give this story because it's
who you are.
Yes, please.
It's too funny not to. So we just wrapped this long day. Trucks packed in. Jeff is literally like smacking in the dolly, like as the thing is going down, pushing stuff in, and lo and behold, we turn around and we're just like, where are the keys to drive off? No one has them.
Oh.
And for whatever reason, they ended up in the hands of one of the interns who split. We were still wrapping the truck, but I guess he thought it was just time to peace out, which was a problem that had happened once or twice before. You know me, I'm from Minnesota. This
happened on a Lifetime movie. This is for sure. and one that I've line produced. This is for sure happened.
Yeah. So I'm benefit of the doubt, like, hey, it was a mistake, an honest mistake. Just come on back. Just bring those keys. I have no idea why I had them anyway, and it's all good. But this kid is, 30 minutes down the road already, so he has to flip a bitch to come back. And we're all waiting there. It's not because we are trying to be dicks about it. It's just we're hanging out, we're minding our own business. It's the ADs and the PA and the PA's job, key PA's job to wait until all the trucks are packed. So we're just waiting there. And so the kid eventually makes his way back around the block. And instead of just stopping his car, handing out the keys and apologizing, the kid rolled by us at 30 miles an hour, just tossed the keys out the window at us and kept driving in front of everyone.
No.
Damn.
In front of everyone.
Bad time to make a baller move right there. Come on.
Didn't even slow down at all. And my hands were tied at that point in time.
Yeah.
And they were just like, well, Seth. And I was like, well, I sat the kid down and I was like, man, look, I'm giving you the thing here. You're on as thin as ice as possible. I was like, oh, fuck this, fuck that. And I was just like, all right, fuck it. We're done. And I made him work the rest of the day. I got the work out of him. I tossed him out the door.
Damn.
See, that's where we're back to the, have some have some happiness that you are there.
That one must have been nurture instead of nature.
So when G&E is the last on the list to be an intern, like, oh, I wanted to be a directing intern or something like that, and G&E's last on the list.
We'll make you a grip intern.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mean I got to do what all day?
Hey, we're just getting real fast. You're gonna drag that dirt. And that metal.
I hope you're strong.
All the way across that field, and then when they're done with it, here's the best part:
bring it back.
You're gonna bring it back, and it's gonna be heavier when you bring it back than it was when you brought it out there.
Who's having fun? Who likes making movies now?
Do you enjoy this craft yet?
Hey, it is or it isn't, right? That's fucking right. I don't fucking care. I had a movie to make, so it's just like, give me the one that cares, and please, someone find me one person to replace the non-existent person I've had this entire time.
So I was making the roundabout point a while ago that, you know, you basically had a 4 or 5 person G&E crew for this film, and it's you know, it's a legit film. It's, you know, if I saw a trailer for that in a theater, I would literally not think anything of it not being anything other than a theatrical film, you know.
That's so cool. Thank you.
Right. And I mean also I feel like that's just a testament to the change in technology, like how much this industry has shifted the past few years, like where we can have a 4 person G&E team, and it looks like, you know, back when you would have needed many more.
We could have used a couple more on this one too.
Well, you always can.
It looks good, but man, that DP, he made us work so hard to make it look like we lit as little as possible. It's just one of those kind of movies, man.
Love that.
I feel like
he was a DP. He was very talented, knew his stuff, but it was just one of those ones that's, hey, we're not lit until we're out of stands on the truck. You know.
Out of stands on the truck. Well, that was quick for us on the last movie because it was like 4 stands.
Yeah, 4 stands.
You know, we're done.
Yeah. I only had so many lights, but my poor key grip, man, he just was. I would never see that kid stop moving. Oh. We had one where we've got like Gillian and Jermaine already in a small Chicago apartment house type kind of thing with an 8x right up as close as we can get to them, you know, because bigger, closer to the source, you know, the broader it is, our lighting theory or whatever. So it's just right up on them. And it's the middle of the night. We've been shooting all day, and we're finally, you know, they're in the scene. They're already on camera and everything, and we're about to roll, and our poor key grip just rolls in with a double net, you know, just coming around on this stuff. And I hear poor Gillian at the top of her list go, well, what the fuck is that for? You know, and he's like shaping a little something off her hands or something like that. I'm just like, yeah, no, I know what you mean. I don't know. You know? I could have sworn we were lit, you know.
Hey, everyone's worked with those DPs, you know.
You know, it's
the perfectionist, you know, like see that color, like it's off but slightly, like by a couple like shades, and it needs to be lighter, and you're just like, what? Like,
okay, we're gonna try.
Like, what? We're
gonna try.
Or even better stuff. Like when they because Connor's like that. He explains it, and you know, like 75% of the time, I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. It's a quick fix. And then, you know, a quarter of the time, I'm like, what are you looking at? Like, I don't even know what you're looking at. I don't know what you're.
I'm just fixing this one thing right here. It's just right here. Just give me a minute.
Yep. And I'm like, what? Yeah.
No, but you know, again, it's great to be able to work with someone that does care that much about it, though. You're absolutely right. You know, like to have that much passion for the frame and to really care about the way it looks. And I have to give as much credit as credit's due. It's why it looks as nice as it does. You pay him that much attention to the frame, it pays off. It looks like a movie. It earned something more from the amount of effort and detail that he put in, and vice versa. The crew and I had to put in, but. If you can make it happen, if you can thread that needle, fuck yeah, let's make it. Let's make a fucking movie.
I feel like the more you treat, and again, this kind of goes back to your guys' style as gaffers, is like the more you treat your job position on a film set as an artisan skill, you know, the more it'll be reflected in that. And, you know, especially these key level positions, they have so much gravity that they can put onto a project if they want. I mean, that's why you get these cinematographers who think that they're production designers half the time, you know, because they almost have in that position the ability to be like, hey, you know what we could add to this to make it look better. It doesn't mean that that's their job, but it's just it's the approach to the job and the ultimate goal of what you're trying to get out of it.
Which, speaking of, I do gotta give one more shout out then for the PD on that movie, our production designer Megan. She was incredible, you know, and you know, the lighting can only take you so far, but it really just goes to show how dressed those sets were, how the costumes and the art, and it was just like one of those times where you just had just enough money and just the right frame to make it all come together and to fill that frame as much as possible. And it shows. It makes the lighting easy. You know, the lighting is very basic and simple and understated because it takes the production design to the next level. It's just like, yeah, that's what you're looking at. It's not about us. It's not like Fargo where the lights blasted through an atmospheric. You know, we're taking a step back. You know, it's that PD that's really like, oh, that's why this feels the way it does. You know. So
that was the last feature you gaffed. When was that?
The the last feature I gaffed one more after that one. It's just not out yet. We're still waiting for it. You actually might get it. You might get a kick out of this one. It's called Broadcast Single Intrusion. It's coming. Who knows when? But it's like a horror kind of thriller based around the Max Headroom.
Nice.
Thing. Yeah. From I don't know.
That's
I
a
don't know
little
like a ton
local
about
story. It's a local story.
Yeah, it is. Okay, a little background on that from my understanding. And Yusuf, you could probably fill in the gaps. You sound like you know it better than me, but it was like in the 90s. There was like
it was the 80s, but
thank
yeah.
you. See, you know what, Yusuf, you tell it. I don't know.
Yeah.
So like there's this TV character called Max Headroom. It's been parodied by like Eminem in the Rap God video. It's like it's got the just really bleach blonde hair. It's got like the crazy background on him. And then it was at some point in the 80s, somebody hijacked the broadcast signal for a local TV station in like the Chicago area, and it was just like they like put on the Max Headroom like makeup and everything, and just doing like really crazy shit. Like they were mooning the camera, like there's somebody like spanking them. There's like a bunch of weird stuff going on. They never found out who hijacked.
Really?
Yeah, it's still unsolved.
Yeah, it was like illicitly pirated, right? Like they cut into the cable, because this is back when I think to hijack something like that you'd have to cut into like a cable, literally like analog, right?
I don't think it was that. I think it was just like hijacking radio waves, like radio signals,
Interesting.
like broadcast signals. Yeah.
Well, so that's what this movie's about. Is
it's
character.
from like a horror thriller perspective. Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. Ooh, the look for this movie. Talk about the exact opposite. We shot it all anamorphic. We shot it old school. This is our DP, Scotty Theo, local guy, local operator, fantastic cinematographer. Man, we were doing some split diopter work. Some long zooms, like just like the longest frame you can have. But again, he was the DP I was talking about that was light and everything at 1600 ISO. That grain, that noise was a part of it, you know?
Art house of shit.
Dude, I'm looking forward to it. I hope that one comes together. That one is going to be freaking wild. And one other fun little lighting thing that I do want to point out about this, a little technical thing, is working alongside not having a lot of big lights. For both of these movies, one of the big techniques we've been using, and they're trying to get rid of it in Chicago. But you remember when you shoot outside in the big city down there, it's really orange. The sodium vapor vibe that's around the Midwest and around out there. They're trying to get rid of them and put, clean white LEDs in it because it's safe.
They did that in LA too. They a couple years ago, they said that they were doing like a city sweep and they were cleaning out, and there's like only in Parallax, we literally have a scene shot under sodium vapor, and we like had to hunt one down. It was like
that's insane.
It was like a location, like we need a street with a sodium vapor lamp. Like, where are we gonna find this?
So here's your hot tip, Peter. Here, I got you. So we actually house a couple of sodium vapors ourselves. And actually, you can just get all this stuff on Amazon. You can get sodium vapor bulbs for super cheap, and metal halide bulbs too. So we just bought a basic housing, slapped a baby pin in it, and if you go watch, I used to go here. All the night work is done with these sodium vapor lights that we basically hand built. Dude, it has changed my life when it comes to nighttime look. Yeah, a super dope trick I learned on a union show. They just had a box of them, and they were just like, "What is this?" "Oh yeah, these are just little sodium vapors. Go plug all these in, and we're good and we're lit." I was just,
damn, that is good. That is amazing.
We could have been doing that this entire time. Yeah, dude, the bulbs are like $20 to $20.
You don't have to do like 10 different gels to combine to get the exact right fucking no one ever knows what the combo is. I swear to God. How do you get that?
I've worked with a handful of like old school gaffers, or who like they come to set and they're like, "Oh, I have my kit with me," and they have a bunch of shit in the back of their car. It's like what are all these crappy looking lights? Like that's what I think to myself. But then you start asking, and they're like home rigs. They're garage rig. Like it's like, "Oh, I've been lugging these around for 25 years," and it's like some piece of shit looking thing. But it's like it does what it does. I mean.
There is magic inside a Best Boy or a Gaffer set cart, man. There is just magic in some of those places. I work with a guy, Jerry Tran, in town. He's literally just a wizard. Like anything you want to fabricate, fix, or make, like, oh, all the dangly parts on a light matter obnoxious. Okay, well, I'll just house all of it in a tiny little Pelican case for you, so we can just plug in two things and go. Like, just make it yourself on these televisions. Yeah. It's amazing how often there's just like handmade shit around. It's awesome.
So we've
keep an eye out for it.
I will. I'll be looking for it.
Yeah, and if that comes out, we'll put it in the show notes by the time that this publishes.
I used to go here is definitely out. That one's out for sure.
Oh, so
broadcast signal intrusion, I do not know.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we'll put both of those trailers in the show notes. So now that we've like talked about, who you are and why you're here,
everything,
everything, your backstory, every piece of history. Let's talk about Light Modifiers a little bit, and Light Modifiers Learn. That was kind of the original reason we'd kind of talked about bringing you on, but let's dive into that for a little bit. Why don't we?
Sure. Yeah. Man, I started Light Modifiers in 2014 with Cameron Petramali. We started as just a couple of guys with a truck that parked in a lot over on the south side. Just owner operators, just working with whatever we can get. Thank you to Jim Andre for hooking me up with that parking lot. If anyone knows me, they'll know that name. Yeah, it was just, you started at small, humble beginnings. We just bought a truck. We threw some gear in it and started shipping ourselves around. Hey, let's make your movie. Hey, let us make your movie. We got this truck. We got this thing. Let's do it. And it just kind of snowballed from there. We've slowly kind of gotten out of the truck game a little bit. I want to eventually get back to a 3-ton one of these days to make more movies, but it's a pipe dream. We really, really specialize in van packages nowadays. I love van packages. I don't know if you guys run with a lot of vans out in LA.
Yeah, time to time.
Much, but
time
like,
to time.
man,
Music video, commercial, even like the smaller film stuff is like. I
feel
actually,
like it happens a lot for me when. Like the other week, it was something where the location was like, you cannot get a truck up here, so you got to go van pack.
Yeah, well, if you shoot anywhere in Hollywood, Topanga, Altadena, like anywhere there's like these one-way roads that like go for 3 miles straight up a mountain, it's like, yeah, I'd much rather drive a van than a 3-ton. Oh my God, I'm gonna have a stroke driving a 3-ton up one of those.
Well, yeah, they come around from time to time.
Yeah. No, it's great, man. It's a whole new world out here. Small towns, small locations, downtown locations. Like it's just great. And again, we've just focused around that commercial business model and that for web business model, and just kind of keeping in mind that this isn't for television. This isn't for this. We're straight web content. And it's kind of a newer way to think about lighting. We're not going to be the biggest lighting package or the biggest lighting group, but we'll have just the right tools to kind of accomplish what we want to make right now. So we specialize a lot in LEDs, like sure, we have tungsten heads if you need them. We've got a couple HMIs and we'll bring in a bigger one if we need to, but we specialize in having like bicolor LEDs, RGB LEDs, wireless stuff, like really, really dialed in sort of lighting, and as a gaffer myself, it's been amazing to be able to pitch myself with basically a tool set like that. I love tabletop. I got to do stop motion animation once for a series of commercials, and just, having all the toys at your disposal to just sort of, dial in exactly what you need. And we just focused in that. I'm not going to be able to shoot every high budget thing, but like everyone needs a product, everyone needs an interview, and we just have just the right tools for design. In fact, if you go on our website, lightmodrents.com, you can see like we have grip packages tailored around, okay, for $50 you can just get all the stuff preloaded. You can just get this preloaded with this package with certain LEDs. So we even kind of try to take the thinking out of it for either the client or the producer. Like I filmed one set of commercials in LA at the end of last year, right before COVID. And I was amazed about the little things that I'm used to putting in my truck and renting out my truck that's just included in a package, like little things like duvetine and scraps of this and hell, it's down to grip gear even. And they just weren't in that truck because I didn't ask for them and I didn't rent them, Yeah. And it's cool. It makes total sense. That's how you do it. That's how we should technically do it too. But we decided to bundle everything instead and use that discount as value and as an advantage. And it being a smaller market here, we have less to kind of contain with anyway. So we try to do a little bit of the thinking for people, I just need a couple lights and some grip gear. Okay, this will all fit in your car, and here's a good set of light panels that are perfect for what you need. Go forth and create.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's kind of like Light Modifiers in a nutshell. It's great. We have Learn with Lamar that Cameron made. This past year, he kind of funded his own scientific study, I like to call it, but a basically objective study of light science, color, softness, throw, like all these circumstances for lighting, a physical fixture of lighting, and they're all compared against each other in an objective. It's soon to be app. They told me it was coming out in February is when this is the target time to get the actual like platform and app. It's up on the internet right now at learnwithlmr.com. If you want to check it out now, but there's more coming for it.
So what's the application of it?
It's another marketing tool to use.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's the application of this? Like,
what?
Peter's a gaffer. Like, what's the application of this in like a gaffer's world today? How does this work?
We wanted to create a platform for gaffers, for electricians, for filmmakers, for producers, for anyone that needs to rent a light and does not have the budget to necessarily rent all the lights or a ton of stuff, and you just have enough money to rent a couple of things. And sometimes I've even found myself in a situation where I'm trying to do a commercial thing and the client requested Geminis, which is great, but I had to set them at 100% and walk them in just on the inches of frame just to get enough exposure to get what I wanted shot, and if we would have talked with them, or we would have had an app like this that we could have sent them, they could do the research themselves, or I can point out, be like, look, that's great. This light is, affordable for this reason, but under the circumstances, we are going to need a little bit more throw. That extra 20% that comes to the sky panel, or shoot, maybe not even a sky panel. We've got a directional light like the Felix 4K that would do the same thing and be potentially even a little punchier. And it's a light you wouldn't have even thought about. So we wanted to provide a platform that all the brands get the same equal chance. No one is special to one another. They're all under the same specs. And so you don't have to go to the manufacturer anymore and get their ideal specifications, like, oh, this CRI under perfect circumstances, this much throw under perfect circumstances, like that's not what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So this provides a scale for you to look at and say, like, okay, well, I'm in a 4x8 room. I only have 4 feet, 2 feet that I can go back. What kind of light is going to get me the most throw distance relative to whatever my subject will be? Then you can pick just the right panel for the job. It's pretty cool. It's helpful for someone like me who's not a technical filmmaker as a resource to be able to pick the right tool versus just assuming, yeah.
It sounds like a cool tool for, like you said, client stuff. Where like, why the hell does this cost so much? You're like, this is why that costs so much.
Yeah, do you see? I know it costs more to rent this light, but look at what you gain by renting this. Like it very much is. It is a budget thing. It always comes back to a budget thing, right? You can always bring back, how can I save it? Like, how can I justify this rental? How can I justify this purchase? Like it's great. A little more details with light modifiers, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. With COVID comes crazy times. You kind of got to learn and adapt and adjust with the times a little bit. So as of about, it's going on probably 4 or 5 months ago, we actually partnered up with a local rental house here in town called 1104. They're a camera rental house. So it was a little tough for us to continue to make it on our own in just COVID times, being what it requires you to pay for to live in Chicago. You cannot believe the lease tax I've got to deal with in Chicago. God. It is, oh my God. So we decided to kind of change our model a little bit. Instead of being on our own, just renting lights, we are now going for a hybrid house sort of thing, a one-stop shop. 1104, Richard, our friend Richard over there, had cameras. He has a stage. He has production supplies. We have production supplies. We're all now located under one roof where you can rent all of the stuff for your production and even shoot there safely. They have so many COVID practices in check. Like, we're even having to sign in when we go there now.
Yeah.
So we even have this other new resource at our disposal that brings things up to the next level. Like, you just don't even need to talk to anyone anymore. Just come find us, come meet with us for today, and we'll make sure you have everything you need, including a space to get it done. So it was tough to have to, move out and no longer be on your own, but this strategic kind of partnership is just good for the times, and it's all about survival, and it helps him, it benefits us, and it brings benefits to the community here. in town, even for people that come to visit and film, like we want to help everybody, like we want to really be a resource, and be a think tank, and be can help control and have that conversation in the industry and be a part of it, like lead it a little bit, like be the thinkers, not the listeners.
Yeah.
So with going back to the LMR Learn, you guys are trying to turn that into an app, right?
Yes, we are. We are trying to turn Learn and LMR to an app. I would imagine it's going to eventually stay that name too. But yeah, we want that to be something that you can actually, I think Neil and him are working on that right now, that they can actually like just pull out in your pocket and just go on the fly. So it's for on set even, like it's great pre-pro. But imagine you do got a bunch of lights on the truck and you're a gaffer. It's like, I don't know, what does the DP want? Like you can rag, which do I pull really fast? I hope it resonates. And it's been really cool because it gives the actual lighting manufacturers a basis to go on to now, like you can only talk so much from your own perspective, but now here's another external third party perspective to either back up or be like, oh, I guess we got some work to do, a little bit, but it's amazing how different all these lights are. Holy shit.
Have you guys received any like sort of sponsorship or endorsement or anything from any of these lighting companies who are like interested on being able to use your formula as like a backstop, like, hey, look, here's the proof in the pudding that our lights can do what we say that they can do, and you can commit them to your job? And
yeah, we've actually had some manufacturers send us some tools just for that reason, like, hey, rent these lights, we can you can pay them off or whatever by blah blah blah, but we actually can put them and use them to our advantage, but we have to like put them in the test and kind of market them a little bit, and it's great. And we can help push that and lead that discussion a little bit. And like, hey, this is the right light for the job for this, like we know these guys personally, and we know what they can do. And I know it's a light you might not use necessarily, but like it'll get what you need done, and you might learn something you didn't know. You might learn something about a tool that's actually surprisingly better than you expected, and because it can't always just be Ari and Light Panel, there's tons of other people out there and tons of other manufacturers out there that are making some incredible stuff. LEDs have just, shit. I remember going to NAB when we first started Light Modifiers and being like, wow, this is all green. Are we really going to get here? And then all of a sudden a year or two later, I was like, wait, everyone figured it out at the same time?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I think what you were saying about the different brands, I think that's like a really interesting point, because I didn't actually experience that really until I was production managing a movie out in Ohio, and we got like a sponsorship. The movie got like a sponsorship from
very cool,
from some like lighting company in like France, and they shipped like, it was like a 350-pound box to Ohio. Yep. And we didn't pay for it, and they were like, and they paid for the shipping back, and I was shipping other things through UPS, and so I'm like, sitting here like doing the calculations, like a 350-pound box going from Ohio to France, UPS. I'm like, oh, like holy crap, these guys are out a lot just for us to like use their lights and play with them, and it's like I didn't know that they're so in that game of proving their stock,
That's just modern marketing.
Yeah.
Like here's the secret. And this is the big one, where if you think about it, we're all just influencers when it gets down to it. It's the same exact logic. I'm not attractive enough to be an influencer on my own, but my lighting can be. And you get enough people interested, and you have a platform like this. I mean, oh my God, that's literally the same thing. Oh, you have this thing. Let me send you this thing to try. Talk about it for us, dude. It's the same game, just a different product. It's never count out business to business, business in general. Like there's a market to serve to a consumer, but there's a very secret. Like, hey, lighting rentals, I don't have to deal with the common person. I don't have to deal with the consumer always. Like I'm talking to other agencies. I'm talking to other business. That's a completely different mindset when you're talking to another business versus, whoever I'm talking, any average Joe who's just liking me on Instagram, So it's threading that needle. It's being an Instagram influencer without being one. And I hate it, but here we are. It's 2020 and this is how we do things. This is how we operate. So I guess I just do it, huh? And I just have to shut up.
Well, on that note, Seth, we're looks like we're running out of time here.
Hey, dude, you guys talked my ear off. You guys talked my ear off. You got all of it.
So I wanted to wrap up. I usually like to ask this. You know, we don't have to go on a whole 20-minute binger. What is one of your favorite set experiences?
Holy shit.
I told you I was going to bomb you with this one too. I even warned you.
Playing Mario Golf on my phone.
That's right. We were trading off Mario Golf in
the
day. Okay, that's pretty fucking good.
Most gratifying favorite, experience.
You know, I'll throw it for the homies just because it's been a hell of a year this year. So this is gonna be for a recent one. Coming back from COVID, everyone knows COVID has changed how we kind of do everything and whatnot. You know, it's crazy. But if you put in the effort, you can do things right and do things safely and take care of each other and still have a good time. And I worked with DP Chris Rahano this year out in another Wisconsin story. There's so much Wisconsin going on. Out in Appleton, Wisconsin, actually, of all places out there. At the Refuge. Shout out to the fucking Refuge out there. This artist collective that is coming up out there that we basically made this romance style like TV show dream. Like it was just some of the most ridiculous stylized pretty lighting I could think of. We worked with Rachel Lee Cook, and she was just the most lovely person to just hang out and be our prop basically in all of this like flashy lighting. And we actually stayed out at the church. There's a church that they converted to an artist loft, basically. So we lived in the location that we filmed in for the whole time, and we super quarantined to get there and got to stick together there for about 2.5, 3 weeks. And we got to be under the same quarantine. We kind of were able to be normal for a change this year. And man, when we rap partied and we got to like drink and like dance and like fucking be like a normal... I still haven't had another experience like it this year. It was amazing. All those guys were out there, Gina, Jan, Chris, like fucking Corey, Hannah, shit. It was just too much hanging with these guys. It was special, and it reminded me what was cool about filmmaking and why this was worth sticking it out everywhere. It's rare, and it's going to be rare to get that kind of stuff these days. But that's why we did it, right, man? Just making something fucking wild and then partying at the end as a celebration.
I miss rap parties.
Dude.
I miss rap parties. Nobody
smiling
talks about
with your friends.
That's like the forgotten moments of COVID.
Faces is crazy.
Seeing people's faces, hugging each other, getting shit canned with each other, dancing on the dance. I brought out the Quasar tubes. We were putting it in party mode, man. It was
filmmakers go hard,
Filmmakers go hard.
We use drugs excessively. I mean, in really abusive behaviors,
Dude, it was nothing like it. It was rare for this year. So take stock if you can get it. That's all I gotta say. I got it once, and I feel nothing but love out of that. We still got a text group of that small little crew of all of us still going, just because we had that much of a good time, all just getting to live and hang with each other for a while. So filmmaking at its finest.
That's awesome.
All right, one more.
Yeah.
One more. What is your piece of advice for people trying to break into the business, especially COVID 2020?
Holy shit.
I know this is a twister because I feel like I used to have like the perfect written answer for this that I just recited, and now I'm kind of like always like changing it week to week. I'm like,
man, you know what? Find the part of filmmaking you like and be good at it. Focus on it. Like there's a lot to do in filmmaking. You can do a lot of different things. You can get stuck in different departments you don't like doing. Find the one thing you're good at. Just lay into it. Just freaking, man, I had no life. I'm still single out there. So my romance has been the love of filmmaking. But hey, if you dig your heart into it and you really get yourself good at something and dedicate yourself to it and your craft and let everyone know, be confident, like if you market yourself, like it's a fucked up weird thing, but like if you want to be an artist, you got to talk like you're an artist. If you want to be a gaffer, talk like you're a gaffer. You want to be a DP, talk like you want to be one. That's what gets you as far as I've seen everyone. If you put that energy out there and allow the world to perceive you that way, it will eventually come back. It takes time and it takes effort and it takes being damn good at something, but you can work at it. You can work at it and be nice. Don't be a dick about it. Holy shit.
Yes.
Just like
oh my God.
throw your hands in the mix and be cool, and get the job done. Like, it's going to be hard. People are going to freaking throw all kinds of curveballs at you. Problem solve, relax. The day eventually ends, like, holy shit. Like, I know I used to just dread, like, is this the one that's finally going to kill me? But now I'm just more like, okay, it's for this amount of days. I can survive that long. I can make it to the end of this. Like, we can do this. It's going to be hard, but we can make it. But you just got to grab on for dear life and don't let go, man. It's being an artist, man. Be an artist or don't. Like, there's no in between, if you ask me.
So, you mentioned you're single. Where can everyone find you and connect with you, Seth?
That actually is great for my plug.
Perfectly.
That's it. There you go. You got something new for you.
Drop your handles, Seth. Where can we check you out? With Light Modifiers, all your work.
Yeah. I am Light Modifiers. It's just at Light Modifiers on Insta. I run that. I do all the product photography for it. That's where I get my heart out. Like, man, I love taking pictures. I love just making some fun lighting content for that. So please follow at Light Modifiers. I'm What's the Gaffer? Because that's what I get asked all the time. Well, what's the gaffer? So I might as well just be that question.
Oh, what's the gaffer? All right, that's
good.
That's easy to remember.
Yeah, dude. But man, thanks for having me out here. This is cool.
Great. It's great, man.
Check out learnwithlmr.com and man, let's make some movies. Let's get back to making movies, huh?
Yes, please.
Absolutely, Seth. Thank you so much for coming out and talking to us. Oh, you didn't really come out. You're on a computer screen, 10 feet away from me. But thanks for making time on your end of the computer to talk to us.
Dude, it was special. Thank you. First time you popped my podcast cherry. I never ever thought I would do anything like this, but I gotta say it was pretty fucking fun. You guys are chill as fuck.
Hey, yeah. Thanks, man.
Have me back anytime. You want to talk movies? We can talk some movies.
We're gonna talk LMR Learn More when you guys get that app going. I'll have you and Cameron on, and we'll dig into that.
Sounds good. You just wait till you hear him talk about it. He's the resident scientist at our.
I want the TED Talk. I want the TED Talk. So we're gonna have to set that up.
We'll do. You guys take it easy. Have a wonderful rest of your of your day.
Love you and miss you, Seth.
Good to meet you guys. Hopefully I'll get out there soon.
Yeah,
come say
sure,
hi.
Man.
All right. Take it easy, Seth.
Peace.
All right. Well, you can check out my Instagram handle at mwbachochin. You can also check us out at Filmmakers Corner Podcast on Instagram, also on YouTube, Filmmakers Corner Podcast. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to music or podcasts otherwise. Peter, on to you.
Well, I just re-downloaded Tinder, so if you're 10 miles from Glendale, you can find me there.
Arizona or California?
California. See you there.
And Yusuf?
I don't exist.
Yusuf doesn't exist on the internet. No handles for our video producer.
BBQ
All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. We'll check back with you next week. Take it easy.